Hello again, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Janelle, and I'm here with my fellow presenter, Andy, and we are here to speak about Updox Secure Text, a solution to increase patient adherence and staff productivity. We will be hosting a Q&A at the end of the webinar, so if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to type them into the chat box, and we'll answer them at the end. We have a great presentation for you all today, so we will go ahead and jump right in. So how many of you today struggle with communication? Maybe with your staff, with prescribers, of course, maybe with patients. I thought this quote from George Bernard Shaw captured the challenge of communication really beautifully. And he says, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. So communication is always something that's a challenge throughout human history, but now more than ever, especially with technology, it's getting harder to communicate effectively and in a timely manner. And at Updox, we fully recognize this, so our mission is to simplify the business of healthcare, and this is evident in all of the solutions that we offer. So what makes communication in pharmacy challenging? Well, we've broken it down to 4 major challenges that were identified. So first, there has been a major shift in the ways that we are communicating. And I found really 3 interesting stats to show how dramatic this shift is. 1, Americans are exchanging 5 times as many texts as phone calls. So this might be a welcome change for some, while others might prefer traditional phone calls, but it's still a fact that text messaging has surpassed phone calls and is often a preferred method of communication, especially for patients. Also, now we can see that 33% of business voicemails are listened to. So that means if you're a pharmacy or you're a business, maybe only 1/3 of the voicemails that you leave for your patients or your customers are being listened to. And what does that mean for phone calls? Are they returned even? Do they listen to your voicemails? There's a good chance that they aren't. And lastly, over 90% of emails received are spam. So this is a staggering number, but it makes sense once you think about all of the ways that email addresses are collected. But as a pharmacy, it can be really hard to bypass email filters or break through the clutter when so many other businesses are competing for your patient's attention. So traditional means of communication that have worked in the past, like email and phone calls, may no longer be the best option. So how are you going to break through the clutter, as I mentioned, and really make an impact on your patients? There's also the need for improved time management. So this is a huge challenge when it comes to communication. And as pharmacists, you all are racing against the clock every day to make the most of every one of your working hours. Organization, scheduling, delegating duties, eliminating distractions, of course, balancing time between patient counseling, some of the newer clinical services, and interaction with your dispensing duties. These all contribute to effective time management, and it's up to you to strike that delicate balance. Also, finding the right technologies and the need for interoperability. So evaluating compatibility when it comes to technology is increasingly important, but it's a challenge nonetheless. Technology is supposed to improve communication between you and your patients, but it's really hard to assign a firm ROI or really know how it will work in your pharmacy until after it's implemented. And lastly, HIPAA compliance. So this is always a priority in any healthcare setting, but when it comes to technology and communication, there's always a cloud of uncertainty or concern when you're trying to determine, is this really secure, or how can I ensure that I am complying with the HIPAA regulations? So there's no one answer to all of these challenges, but it is important to recognize them since they are a priority for your pharmacy when it comes to communication. So one of our customers who's been with us since the beginning really captures the idea of communicating within Updox beautifully and pretty succinctly. So that she says the best thing about it is that it's not a hard solution to use, and we're already saving money with Updox. And I see it as being very valuable to expanding our clinical operations. It saved lots of time for staff, and all of our communications, including faxes, direct emails, and messages from patients, are all routed to one inbox instead of a bunch of different programs. It's so much easier on us all. So Beth has saved a considerable amount of time with her Surgoinsville Pharmacy, also money and resources by incorporating Updox into her pharmacy. So here at Updox, we recognize that these are challenges that you all are facing, and we are seeking to simplify your business in any way possible. So we are introducing Updox Secure Text as a solution to increase your patient adherence, improve your staff productivity, and ultimately simplify your business. So quickly, some of the benefits here. First of all, visibility. So multiple staff members or employees, or maybe even one as you see fit, can all work within the inbox to exchange messages straight from our web-based application. And you can customize these settings to allow certain permissions to turn on and off as you would like. It also offers a level of practicality. So secure text allows you to reach patients in the ways that they want. Some of the stats that I mentioned earlier, it's really obvious that text messaging is now a preferred method of communication for some, if not most, of your patients. And since it is completely web-based, that means that there's no apps or hardware needed on your end or the patient's end. Also, there's effectiveness. So, of course, as a patient, it can be harder to ignore a text message than a voicemail or a phone call, especially if you're unable to pick up the phone in the moment, or maybe you're at work. This also has positive impacts for your staff as well. So secure text could save you time with your employees, usually spent on the phone, maybe doing follow-up or pick-up reminder phone calls, and allow you to spend the time, save it, and use it where you need it the most. Also, compliance. So secure text is 100% HIPAA compliant. And since it is web-based, your patient would just go to the link that they're sent, and they would log in with a PIN number that they assign for themselves, and they'd be able to have a full conversation with you and members of your staff all through the web-based application. Lastly, impact. So again, secure text could save money in prescriptions picked up alone, but also in time saved from you and your staff, with hopefully more engaged, happier, more satisfied patients. So to give you an idea about what this would actually look like within your pharmacy, I am going to turn it over to our product expert, Andy. Andy Gila is our product manager, and he is going to give you a direct insight as to how Updox Secure Text would look in your pharmacy. So Andy, whenever you are ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janelle. Hello, everybody. So like Janelle mentioned, I'm Andy Gila. I'm a product manager here for some of our patient communication solutions here at Updox. And I just want to elaborate a little bit more on what secure text is, what it can mean for your pharmacy, and build up on some of the information that Janelle just shared with all of you. So as she mentioned and went through, we provide visibility for your whole staff to really gauge and manage communications all from one platform within our inbox. It's practical because it's a workflow tool that you can integrate with your pharmacy management system and use in your day-to-day without having to go somewhere else. Effective because it's going to meet patients where they're at. So many of us are always on our phones. We check if we have a text, sometimes not even being alerted that we have one. It's just human nature. And because of that, we're able to meet those patients where they're at and where they're frequently communicating in. Again, it's HIPAA compliant, so that means all the communications that currently happen today, whether you're in the within the pharmacy when the patient comes in for questions or when they're calling in, we can really drive a lot of this volume over to the secure texting component because these conversations are HIPAA compliant. And as a result, it'll have a direct impact because it still allows you to do what you're doing today, communicating with patients, helping patients, managing your day-to-day workflows and driving revenue into your pharmacy, but it allows you to do it in a much more efficient way and therefore driving a positive impact to your business. So to give you an idea of what this looks like, within your pharmacy, within your workflow tool, it's very simple. Within the Updox inbox, we have a consolidated place where you can aggregate all the various types of communications. And just by clicking the text message button and launching, the screen, you're able to message off directly into your patients. You can add attachments, for example. Let's say that you have someone coming in for a medication synchronization appointment or even an MTM, and you just want to make sure that when they come in, you have the most important information up to date. So you can attach forms that go directly to their phone. You could ask them to attach things your way. So what it really does is it drives away for a lot of the information hurdles that you face today, both in getting information for the patients, but making sure that they actually get it you can drive it in a HIPAA compliant way, all within your tool. And the really nice thing as well is some of our solutions, depending on the pharmacy management system, get built right into that workflow as well. So just to drive the point home, HIPAA compliant texting with your patients. That means you're no longer inhibited to what you can say, and you could also share attachments and receive attachments, and it's right in within your workflow. And let's talk a little bit about what this means for the patient. What does that look like and how does it feel from their perspective? So when you go and send a secure text message to the patient, the first time they receive it, they're going to be prompted with some demographic information about themselves to make sure that they verify their identity. Once they do that, the patients are going to get prompted to enter a PIN, and that becomes, with the unique URL we send, becomes their secret way of making sure that only they can access this information. And as a result, once they go into there, to them, after that, it just feels like a normal text messaging platform. It's all on a secure encrypted browsing session, but they're able to look at the history they've had. They can upload attachments, download attachments. Heck, they can even do videos and other types of documents. So if there's forms that you want them to fill out and then take a picture of, if there's an issue that a patient may be having with some asthma medication and they're not able to get to the pharmacy, you can ask that they record a video of what symptoms they're having, whether it's their cough or if they think they're having a rash or medication. So what we're really excited about is the fact that this just takes the dynamic that the industry is already going into when it's more consumeristic behavior and how we engage with patients, but takes it to that next level where you can actually share things about their care, about their medications they're taking, all within a HIPAA compliant manner, and then track all of this information in one consolidated place, which is the Updox solution, which integrates with the pharmacy management system. So on that, before I turn it over back to Janelle, I also want to highlight one of our clients who's been leveraging our text messaging solution and has also been a beta client for Secure Text. Jeff at Pure Life RX, said, text messaging has increased revenue. It's awesome. With the amount of refills that we get, we're now able to use one employee to do our texting. We used to call all of our refills. We'd get a low response, and there was always confusion. Updox is amazing. So already here's an example of a workflow that was pretty manual, took a lot of time to make phone calls, that can now be moved over to texting, and with Secure Text even includes specific information about the refill, about the dosage, about any educational instruction on how to take it, thereby making it easier both for the pharmacist and for the patients themselves. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Janelle.
Thank you so much, Andy. So I hope that gave everyone a really good idea just about how Secure Text looks both within the pharmacy and from the perspective of the patient. So Secure Text is an addition to the whole Updox pharmacy suite, and it works seamlessly with the rest of the Updox platform and pharmacy features that all stem from the single consolidated inbox that Andy just mentioned. So how it works within the Updox ecosystem, as we call it, well, first, it helps to streamline communication. So Updox houses multiple solutions within one platform so that different patient communication tools are within one place. So, our broadcast messaging or our regular SMS text messaging or even the online patient forms are just some of the other features that complement Secure Text in order to communicate with your patients more effectively. It also works to support adherence initiatives. So if you're conducting MTM consultations or med synchronization appointments, or maybe you're just looking to improve those ever so important star ratings, Secure Text gives you another line of communication and a way to discuss maybe a medication regimen or maybe answer questions that patients may have or even do some counseling right from the texting conversation. Secure Text can also save money. So if your patients are improving adherence in any capacity, there may be natural improvements in overall revenue just because they will likely be picking up their prescriptions more often. And of course, the goal is always to have them taking their medications correctly and accurately. And lastly, this is a communication tool that seeks to reach your patients in new ways, but it's ways that they want and ways that they're already communicating in. So we are all increasingly reliant on our mobile phones, and it's important that as a pharmacy business, you're equipped with tools like Secure Text in order to reach your patients in the ways that they want to be communicated with. So again, you guys are all incredibly busy. We don't want you spending more time hopping between different solutions or programs when your time could be better spent with your patients or on your dispensing duties. So we created our Updox Pharmacy Connect solutions to consolidate the business and patient communication tools into one platform. So this means less time spent outside of your workflow and more time spent on the things that really matter to you and your business. So ultimately, we're looking to boost your patient engagement, automate some of those manual, cumbersome administrative workflows, drive your clinical services revenues, and support your adherence programs, and enhance care coordination between you and other members of the care team. And lastly, I'd like to leave it off with one more quote from one of our product champions. So Kelly from Community Pharmacy, he said he's always looking for new ways to operate more efficiently, save money, and improve accuracy, and Updox definitely fits that criteria for community pharmacy. So again, just really we want to drive home the point of how our Updox communication solutions and specifically secure text can really take your patient engagement to whole new levels with security.